I also wanted to, I was thinking, oh, I should have introduced this organization yesterday as a part of talking about, underrepresented groups. But anyway, this is a support group and a place where people share resources and ask questions. And from what I hear from high school students, Facebook is like not of interest anymore. So guess what? We got to move on to the next thing, whatever. How you do REU management with Snapchat, I'm not sure, because it's kind of ephemeral. Is that the right word? Temporary. Anyways, Earth Science Women's Network, and they have, I don't know about all the other things they do, but I do follow them on Facebook. And it's things like, here's a woman, we just lost a scientist, a woman scientist in Boulder last week that was apparently, that kind of thing. Or how do I dress how would you dress if you were going to an interview that was like this? And tips. And so here's one by a colleague of ours, actually, that was up just yesterday on elevator speeches, that kind of thing. And this group, as Rebecca mentioned, was, I think, primarily responsible, or maybe in conjunction with AGU, and not sure, AGU, for that conference on the sexual harassment that she told us about. So anyway, it's just interesting to see that, and I encourage you, if you're interested in participating and you happen to use Facebook. I know a lot of us got into Facebook because of keeping contact with students. So today, this morning's session is on geoscience career awareness and professional development of students in REUs. I think we can all agree that we probably all believe that scientific thinking or evidence-based reasoning is a valuable way of thinking that we would love to have more people use, including politicians and other people. And at this end, we would love to have more people go into STEM careers and in a variety of domains, and geoscience careers, partly because it's such an important area. Well, I think that there's, we're sort of seeing growing awareness that careers in academia are really not a really hugely viable option for, or let's put it this way, it's not a viable option for a large number of STEM students. And we need to think about how we prepare students to be aware of careers out in the world that are in STEM and in geoscience, careers that maybe are outside of academia. And how do we help prepare them? And how do we help faculty who have been doing what they've been doing for years hear and learn and think about how to do this? Hear about how, employers really want people who have these experiences and skill sets that are maybe more like problem solving or like messy case studies, that kind of thing, and not so much like, as prescribed. Maybe more like if you took a master's degree thesis and turned it into, there are all kinds of ways that you could ideally bring this into the regular curriculum. Although I love academia and I spent a lot of my life doing it, I just wanted to point out there are like recent articles in Nature in 2015. One was about postdocs, one was about PhDs, and one of them in last December in Nature said it shows how so few people end up becoming faculty. It goes, the numbers decrease. If we were to look at the numbers of students in undergraduate programs and then graduate programs and then PhDs and then postdocs and then faculty positions, it really keeps shrinking, right? The ratio, the Nature paper from December, I think it was in there, it said that the ratio in STEM broadly, not just geoscience, of people who are in postdoc positions to open faculty positions currently is about 7-to-1. And that's people who've made it all the way through 5 years of postdocing. And that's the trend now, is like multiple postdocs, multiple years of postdocs. Good luck getting a faculty job if you have 2 years of postdocing. So it's like this endless, it's like a whole other career, the PhD and postdoc thing. And so this was a quote that I found in another article. Since receiving my PhD, that's since the PhD, you know, I used to think of like, yeah, you got to be willing to move around, you know, your master's degree and your PhD, and now it's like, oh, 3 postdocs. Moved to Boston for postdoc, then in 2015 I left Boston for another one, and I will have to move again. If I'm lucky, I'll get a faculty position. So not to be a real, you know, super downer about it, but I just think we need to be thinking about how to really realistically introduce other options to the students.
So I wholeheartedly agree with you. However, I also know that many of the scientists that are mentors in our EU programs see them as recruitment opportunities for down the line. And do you have any advice on how to convince them of this being a more healthy perspective to take? Basically, it being about the students rather than the future recruitment for mentors.
Well, on the one hand, I think it's great to recruit for graduate school. I mean, I think people will have better job opportunities if they do have a, you know, master's degree at least. Actually, generally, most employers are looking. Well, one of the things that I was going to mention was that it's actually something that I got a tip at another meeting on, which ties into this, is having every speaker, every single one, like if somebody is coming in and teaching about GIS, spend 4 minutes on their own career path. And I thought, what a great idea. So then I ran a 1-week program with undergraduates who came from around the country, and it was around this topic of geoscience awareness, career awareness, and professional development. And we had about 30 different scientists or engineers or web designers or education people, and it was like, you know, let's just make this more like who are working in science, not just scientists. And we had, probably each student was exposed to 20 of those people through different things, different formats. And almost every single person was asked to talk about their career path. It's fascinating. It's like scientists one guy was a trucker and a DJ before he was a scientist. And the first feedback comment we got, we did a 15-minute debrief at the end of the week. First student said, for the first time since high school, I'm not afraid of my future. So, you know, it's just like we don't have to have this path, but there are these rich alternatives. And I think hopefully by including mentors in that process, it helps them realize the whole thing, like you were talking about yesterday, that we're all human. I don't know. I don't have a great solution. Lena?
I want to make a comment on when you look at your REU proposals and the goals that you set up for them, be also creative on what you measure success. So for an REU participant, success doesn't mean they went into graduate school. Success can mean that they learned that research was not for them and they wanted to be an English and a writer. We heard a great story about that yesterday. And also help educate the mentors that for NSF, and I think I'm safe when I speak on behalf of NSF, that NSF doesn't see success only as PhD to faculty. We are broadening, and we are also educating our program officers as well to say success can take many different colors.
Yeah, thanks. In terms of that success idea, how do you define success? When you have a panel, I mean, we accidentally had this really neat thing happen where we had a panel of grad students, and one of them had not gotten into grad school by a hair. And she was super happy, you know, she loved her job, she was doing what she had been trained for, and it was just this nice contrast. And after the panel, we had some people say, well, I've figured out I really do want to go into grad school, and other people like, not for me, you know. So having variations or having non-academics on a career panel. So yeah, training the mentors is in subtle ways, I think, is maybe the way to go. So that's my plug.